Hello and welcome back to Alteryx Weekly Challenge. My name is Nick Bignell and this is the challenge number 42. This is actually the first from the Grand Prix laps or rounds as they call them of Inspire Europe 2016, which I was at, but for the life of me I can't remember what it was some time ago. I can't remember the actual tasks that they had to do, but anyway, we're going to relive it and go through it to attempt to do the same thing. Now, each of the challengers in the Grand Prix only had about 10 minutes to achieve this particular round or lap, as they call it. So let's see how long it takes me as I go, but I'll be talking as well, so maybe not as quick as them, also not as good as them. Anyway, let's have a look at it. So we have the Leeds government, which I assume they mean the Leeds City Council, has multiple tools to blend and analyze data and wants to test Alteryx so that they can go to a single tool. For this first step, they would like to prepare all the data for analysis. Please accomplish the 4 following steps. Okay, so merge all the records together from the Leeds input data Excel file, sheets 2009 to 2015. Okay, so if we have a look in that file here, it's currently selected on one of them, 2009, and it's got some data in there. So I am going to assume that all the, and if we, you probably can't see this, but if you look at the input, there's all the other selections there. I'm going to assume that the input for all of them is in the same format, and we can just bring them together. Now there's 2 ways, I think, well there's probably multiple ways, but 2 main ways that you can do this. You can either have a individual input for each sheet and then union them all together, or you can use a dynamic, which is in the developer section, and there's a dynamic input. I'll just drag it in, there's one there. Now what you need for a dynamic input is a text input of your sheets. Okay, so if we just type in 2009, I think if we do all of them, 2010, 2011, because when we can replace this to look up for each of the sheets when it selects them. Okay, so that's our sheet input, and then we can go here and we want to click on the edit input data source, edit, and then you can then browse or select your actual input file. Okay, so we want to do that, and that will give us this setup. So it's gone and found it's got the file there. Now what it says to do and how to manage this is to change this, because obviously we still have the select there, so we want to add or replace a specific string. At the moment it just says 2009, but we want to do select star from that field. Okay, and that's the field, and then we want to read a list of data sources to replace, and then the drop down here says field 1, and we want to do change file table name on that. Okay, so that should, if we run that, yep, that sounds like it's bringing in all of them. So if we have a look at this, we've got 2009 data at the start, and then it goes into 2010. Okay, so we're only showing the first 4,000 records of the 18 total. So that's that. We've brought them all in. If we do a quick browse, we can just check actually that we brought them all in, and we can then just go to the bottom. Yeah, found to December 15. That's good. Okay, so that's step number 1 complete. So step number 2 is to reclassify the text in lighting conditions into a single field that has 4 possible values. So lighting conditions is here. Let's have a look and see what different values we have. And if I just select a summarize tool and we go to lighting conditions and just group by and then run that, what that'll do is give us all of the different values, and there are 5, so we're looking for 4. Now it says to please update this field and keep the same field name and use the info in the text input reclassification to reclassify. So the text input is reclassification is here, and you can see if I just click on the 2, it's basically giving us the reclassify field. So we can use a join on that basis. So we can join not against the summary but against the original data, and we can join against the reclassification file. So we want to, lighting condition is what we actually want to join on. We then want to get rid of lighting conditions on both sides, and reclassify we want to rename as lighting conditions. Okay, now that should replace that particular field with all of them. Now let's just check that we actually get all of them through. Yeah, we've still got 18,886, none on the left, none on the right, and that has then, if we scroll across, because we now changed those lighting conditions. Okay, so that's task number 2 done. Create a date field using accident date so that we can work with these in date format. Name it accident date underscore date. Okay, so we want to bring in a date pass tool. Oh, I can get it to attach. Okay, and then we want to configure it to use the accident date, and the format we want, is it this one? Let's write a custom one just to be sure, and I think it's date DDMONYY for year, and that's the format that we have. So let's run that and see. Oh, I didn't rename it, but we can do that again in a sec. So we now have, let's just have a look at what we've got, date timeout, and it's now in a date format. Great, but we need to call it, so we want to specify a new column name, and we want to call it accident date underscore date. Yeah, okay, so that's then task 3 done. Create time buckets from the field 24 hours using the parameters below. Call the field time buckets. Okay, so I'm thinking we need a tile in here. Now we haven't got any numeric columns in this data set, so the tile one will group things into ranges, so we obviously need a number to do that. So let's just bring in a select, and we'll change this field here, the time 24 hours, to be an integer. And then on the time one, it's already selected it, and we'll manually put them in, and then we'll just type in the ranges that we want. So if we put in like that, there's the cutoffs for each range. Okay, so the second one is 11:59, the third is 15:59, the fourth is 20:59, and finally 23:59. Okay, and if we run that, what you get is tile numbers here, which give us the time, each session, what time it is, I believe. So the first one says 16:45, which would put it in the evening. Number 4 is early morning, so put it in 1. Yeah, so the fourth and the 1. So we just need to take that. If we just take this, create time buckets for using the parameters below. Okay, so if we take this and we copy that and we put in a text to look it up, and then select the whole thing and paste. Okay, so now we have field 1 with the various things, and we just want to call this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then we can just join that in. What did it want to be called? It wanted to be called time buckets. So if we tile number and field 2, we don't need field 2 again, and we want to call this time buckets. I guess we don't need these 2 tile number ones anymore, and let's just stick a browse at the end, so actually there's no output file to compare it against, so I'm going to have a look at the results and see if we got what we expected. There we go. Early morning, evening, night. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and see you again next time.